I know what you did on this date. Tom Duval stared at the note for the third time, observing its fancy script and blue ink, written in cursive. Below the words were numbers, looking just as fancy. February 15th, 25. He licked his lips, body fidgeting in the high-backed recliner. What do you make of it, Mr. Torres? His bodyguard, enforcer and confidant to the McManus mob's consigliere, shrugged. I'll check with Frankie the Forger. It's got prints, so I'll have a friend of ours on the force run it through the database. He took it with a gloved hand. If someone touched this note and has a rap sheet, we'll know who's trying to intimidate you, Mr. Duval. Mr. Torres looked at the photo on his boss's desk. What about your new bride, Sherry? Tom snorted at the hot babe grinning back at him from the frame, barely more than half his age. She's sweet, perfect bod, but dumb as a post. Can't spell BMW. Probably. Thinks cursive involves swear words. They shared a chuckle. What about the ex-Mrs. Duval? His bodyguard suggested. Tom slowly nodded. Yeah, we didn't exactly part on good terms when she found out about Sherry while we were still technically married. Mr. Torres jotted down some notes on paper. February 15, is there anything you or we did on that date that would tick off someone? The mob lawyer nodded. We had to make Aaron Carlson disappear that night 2 years ago. See what his family thinks. Mr. Torres gave a slight nod and disappeared from the office. The next day, Mr. Torres had some answers. Your ex is more obsessed with the Greek shipping boss from New York. The prince came up negative in our search. And the Carlsons think the Maroness made Aaron disappear. Tom sighed. Well, that's a relief. Mr. Torres didn't smile. And there's another note. I know what you did on this date. Tom trembled as he read it out loud. I'll never forget what you did on this date. Again. The telltale numbers February 15th, 25 accompanied it. The consigliere groaned. Frankie got any clues? Mr. Torres shook his head, still looking at the other one. Tom glanced over his calendar. That was the day of the O'Neill trial. We bribed Judge Aiello to throw out the case on jurisdictional grounds. Aren't the feds after him? Tom nodded, his bourbon sloshing around in his glass. Got a pal with amphibies? Mr. Torres smiled. Of course. We'll see if we can unseal that indictment a little early. And maybe you should carry around the Glock instead of locking in the cabinet, okay? Tom nodded. But the gun didn't make him feel safer the next day, as he found a new note. It read, I can't wait to repay you on Friday, with the same ominous date below the cursive. It isn't Judge Aiello who wrote it, Mr. Torres explained. He pled guilty to a lot of watered-down charges and doesn't want to admit to taking a bribe. He's about to be sentenced to a swanky club-fed prison. Tom swore. He wanted answers. Frankie the Forger suspects a gal is writing this. Those words from Mr. Torres got Tom's attention. We kidnapped Don Marone's girlfriend a few years ago in mid-February to get him to back off a takeover of the docks. We held her for weeks until he paid a ransom. See if it was her. He wrote a name on the back of an envelope, which disappeared into Mr. Torres' jacket pocket. She has no clue who nabbed her, Mr. Torres told his boss the next day, as the dreaded date was fast approaching. My source in the Maroness thinks it was the Carlsons who did it. The wife was blindfolded the whole time, so she knows nothing. Now she's suburbia mommy. Well, that's a relief, but we still don't know who wants to get me weight. Oswald Jenkins. Tom suddenly remembered. We canned Ozzy 3 years ago from the firm on February 15th. He was drinking and wouldn't leave the girls alone. Maybe he got a barmaid to write this. Mr. Torres stood up. I'm on it, sir. That night, Sherry slid next to the lawyer on the sofa at home. Why so glum, Tom? He sighed. Someone at work is after me. She giggled. Are you sure it's not someone at home? She put her arms around him. He thought about what she said. No, they had been married in June, not February. Plus, her handwriting made a doctor's note look like the Declaration of Independence. Sorry. Han just stressed. He untangled himself from her arms. Another time, maybe. But the next day, Duval's mood did not improve. Found Mr. Jenkins at the warming shelter, Mr. Torres explained. Drunk as usual. Didn't remember he had ever been an attorney. Well, great. Tom hurled a book at the wall. Nobody I know has any connection to. February 15th. I know what you did on this date. I suggest you remain at home tomorrow. Mr. Torres spoke quietly. I'll supervise your security there too. The next day, Friday the 15th, Duval spent working from home, but not on anything involving his legal practice. The consigliera looked over all his files, trying to track down who would want to hurt him so badly. That evening, he poured himself another bourbon with a shaky hand. Another note, saying today's the day, was brought in by a servant. He hadn't even showered or shaved. Glancing in the mirror, he saw the bloodshot eyes, unkempt hair, the part that wasn't bald. The door was open to his panic room. Glock was loaded, one in the chamber, safety off. He had sent Sherry out with the platinum card and told her to have fun so she wouldn't be around for whatever was going to happen that night. He mulled over the possible suspects. Could the cops or some prosecutor be messing with him? Could it be Don Morone in a gangland bout of intimidation? Or was Mr. McManus planning a little downsizing? What about Mr. Torres? He knew so little about the Guatemalan from Antigua. He thought he treated the mob man well, but maybe his bodyguard and confidant might want to move up in the syndicate and replace him in the inner circle. He froze, hearing soft steps creeping up the stairs. Beads of sweat covered his pate. Heart thumping like a racquetball on the court, bouncing off the walls. He held up the Glock, pointing it at the door. The wooden slab creaked open. The finger on his trigger locked up so he couldn't even pull it even if he tried. In crept a figure, wrapped in a cloak. His gun hand trembled. Then he recognized the red hair. Sherry. Hey Han, thanks for the credit card. His wife beamed. Can't wait to show you what I got for you. In the gloom, she looked at the gun in his hand, eyes wide. Oh, don't shoot me, she giggled, putting up her hands in mock surrender. What's next? Handcuffs. Tom groaned. Normally he'd be like a cartoon wolf, howling, crawling on the floor toward her. But tonight, sorry, Sherry. He set down the gun on the bed. Just been stressed this week. Somebody's been after me. I know, the redhead began, then picked up the gun before he realized what was going on. Is this about the notes? Those were from me. He struggled to speak. But the writing, the spelling. She smiled. I got my sister Sandy to write those for me. I wanted to set up something for tonight. His eyes couldn't leave the barrel of the gun. But what? Why? She wagged her finger at him. You haven't been spending much time with me. I know. It's kinda extreme, but I wanted to do something a little different. His eyes followed every movement of the firearm. He regretted setting it down. I'm sorry I've ignored you, Tom stammered. I promise I'll be different from now on. But why the 15th? Why that day? Sherry smiled. It was our first date. Don't you remember what happened that evening? He shook his head warily. But that was Valentine's Day. I know what you did on this date. I know, she replied. But we didn't do it until after midnight. But why that? He pointed at the Glock. What had he done, he wondered. Sherry looked at it. Oh, is it real? She shrieked, tossing it on the bed, as if suddenly discovering it was a snake. Then she whipped off the cloak to reveal a new purchase from Victoria's Secret, which she modeled by twirling around in front of him. Well, here's the big surprise. Happy anniversary, Tom, she squealed. Thanks for watching our video.